Hello everybody, Eugene here, back with another music review, and today we'll be reviewing Movement's third studio album, Ruckus! Exclamation point. Have to put that in there because it is on Spotify. There is the exclamation point. Now, a little bit about Movements. If you guys don't know who Movements is a post-hardcore band with some alternative rock and emo influences. I will get to why I say that second part in a little bit. They are from California, and they started making music in 2016 with their debut EP, Outgrown Things, and then their first debut album came out in 2017 called Feel Something. Then they had their sophomore album, which was No Good Left to Give. If you guys don't know who Movements are, they have classic songs like Daylily. If you have never heard of that, that's probably that is their most popular song. I'm not even going to say probably. It most definitely is their most popular song. Full Circle, Third Degree, Skin to Skin. Those are just a few that I could name off the top of my head without going on Spotify and looking. But Movements definitely has that post-hardcore feel to them. And they definitely are one of the better post-hardcore bands. Well, modern post-hardcore bands. Let me put that out there. Movements, I didn't find out about them until I listened to Daylily. That's also because I think they were playing for When We Were Young festival. And I was like, fuck, let me see who they are. And that was the first song, and I was hooked. Daylily hooked me instantly. That song will hook any of you that have never listened to them. I'm telling you right now, be prepared. But like I said, Ruckus! Exclamation point is their third debut. Not their debut. Their third studio album. Kind of going into this, what was I expecting? I really listened to Feel Something a lot. I think that's one of their best albums. I didn't really listen to their sophomore album as much as I wanted to. I never really get to finish it, nor do I really get to start it as good as I want. So I still have to really listen to No Good Left to Give. But listening to Ruckus, coming into it, I didn't know what to expect. I listened to some of the singles like Tightrope and Lead Pipe and Fail You, and I was like, you know what, this is going to be a good mixture of different things, and I really want to listen to it and try and see if I would like this. I never really listened to their sophomore album, so I'm going to take this opportunity with Ruckus to figure out how far am I going to listen and like Movements, And like I said, Feel Something was a good experience. Made me really like the band. But one debut album out of 3, I need to listen to everything else to really see if I'm going to like them, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to like the songs or Feel Something regardless of the fact. But seeing how they progress really is going to give me an idea of how much am I going to like them in the future and, stuff like that. If I'm really going to enjoy them as much as I want to. I will very positively say and very confidently that I did enjoy this album a lot. I feel like this album definitely, has their post-hardcore roots and things like that. But they have such a good alt rock and emo influence sound to this album, and that's why I stated that to begin with. They always did such a good job with that. They did such a good job with that on Feel Something, and they did a good job with that with a couple of the songs on No Good Left to Give, and I feel like they did it even better this album. Ruckus definitely has those influences a lot more in this album, a lot, especially the more alternative rock sound. Not so much as the emo, like you get emo from bits and pieces here and there, but it's more the alt rock mixed with the post-hardcore sound, which I do like a lot. Now, do some songs sound more alternative rock than post-hardcore? Yes. But that's not a bad thing either, which I do like. I do like their first track that they started off with "You're One of Us Now," and I really feel like that song was a good opener for things to come. Gave you a little taste of everything that they made in the album, basically, not from different songs, but kind of like, what is to come in the album. I really did like the singles on this album a lot. I don't think there was one single I hated. I liked Killing Time. I liked Lead Pipe, Tightrope, and Fail You. I'll get the Tightrope and Fail You in a minute, but just Killing Time and Lead Pipe, such good songs. I really liked how this band can go from really heavy to really soft real quick. Really heavy, intense, to soft. And the lead singer does a great job at just like being intense, and it gets to a soft tone. Like it's just so cool. Like I don't know how else to put it, and I feel like it's so refreshing because I don't see that a lot in these modern bands. They're just they want to keep to this one like idea, and that's why I like other bands like Real Friends and Knuckle Puck. I always bring them up because those are two bands that like my generation, well, I'm 21, so what I technically would have grown up with in high school, and like beginning of and well, more of the ending of middle school, who I would have grown up with. But I like how those bands can just do that. For example, Dan Lampton from Real Friends, like songs like Summer or Loose Ends, like how he's able to do that. Even with Knuckle Puck, Pretense, Stationary, other songs from Knuckle Puck, like Gone. Like I like bands that can really do that successfully and correctly. And I always give those two bands as examples because I feel like those two bands really set a standard in my eyes, And that, those songs were really good. I really liked some of their softer songs, like Heaven Sent. Heaven Sent definitely had, this is going to sound corny, a heavenly vibe to it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, the way they created the song made you feel like you were definitely above the clouds, Like, it was a softer song, but I feel like that's what they were going for, with that feeling of just being above the clouds, like that heaven-sent feeling. Like, once you listen to it, you'll get what I'm saying. It was a really good soft song. Right after that, it was Tightrope. Tightrope is easily my second favorite song on the album. Like, when I heard the single, I was hooked on it. Like, it was really good. It has a little bit of the more alternative rock and emo to it. They kind of didn't really do the post-hardcore with this song. They really kept it to the alt rock and the emo to it and combined it, and it was so good. Lyrically, instrumentally, I love the guitars, like the just ghostly guitars in the background. Sounds amazing. Another thing I want to mention before I get into the next songs, right, is the bass playing in this album. I'm a big stickler on bass playing because I like hearing the bass, and I feel like that because they're a post-hardcore band, the way they made the songs with the like alt rock influences and the emo influences, because of the bass being more of like a post-hardcore, the best way I can describe the bass playing, it kind of sounds like Loud Dispute's bass playing, but a little bit heavier. And I like how in this whole album, it feels like the bass is just like shredding through your soul. Like it's that like deep or like that intensified, but it's not too intensified to just ruin the songs, It's like, it just gets in there, man. Like, it's so good. I like how they produced the instrumentals a lot in this album, and I'll forever say that. They did a really good job at producing this album instrumentally and vocally. I can't leave the vocals out, but I'm a big stickler for that, and I really did enjoy that a lot. My favorite songs on the album, like I said, Tightrope, one of the deep cuts, I Hope You Choke, that's going to be played in their live shows. I 100% know this for a fact, because there's no way, right? You make a song this good, on a deep cut, right? There's no way you make a song this good on a deep cut, right? And it has like a kind of like a crowd shouting you back. They say, "I hope you choke. I hope you choke. I hope you choke." Like, it's just like I can envision myself being at a Movements concert and they play that song and everybody says it, you know? Like, I can see that 100%. And that is so cool. You know, I feel like that was such a great song. And that's why that's like my second favorite, not second, but this is like my favorite song on the album. 100% my favorite song on the album. It's so good. I am just in love with deep cuts, man. I love deep cuts. I would rather take a deep cut than a single, because I feel like deep cuts, it was like worth the wait, you know what I mean? And then after that, my other favorite song was Fail You. I thought Fail You was so good. Just as a single, it was such a good single, and it was just such a good song. It's intense, it can get soft, but it can get real intense. Like, I feel like they did such a good job of that. Like, I feel like Movements is like the baby brother of Law Dispute. I 100% feel like that. Now, are they both two different post-hardcore bands? Yes, 100%. But it's just the reason I say this is because it's just like both the singers and just both the bands can get really intense and then really soft and then change tempos when they need to. But they do it so well, and that's why I give them, like, that comparison. They do that so well, and that's why I compare them, like, the little brothers of Law Dispute, because Law Dispute does that really well as well. And if you don't know who Law Dispute is, I 100% recommend checking them out, too. Couple things that I didn't like on the album, well, just two songs I didn't really like. They were just kind of mid. AMP... and their final track, I really don't know how to fucking pronounce it, so I'm not even gonna try to. I thought they were just so out of place. Like, they were kind of mid. Like, I feel like the whole album had this, like, alt-rock, like, emo, post-hardcore vibe, and these two songs, like, the final song is alt-rock. I just feel like it was, like, a little bit too soft, especially with some of the songs they were doing was like soft, but not as soft as that one. But you know, I feel like maybe the more I listen to it, the more I'll grow to like it. I have to listen to that song more. It's like I feel like it's gonna be one of the songs I have to listen to more. So don't quote me on this. Don't get mad. Just don't quote me on that. I'm gonna listen to it more, and I just gotta specifically that song, because I feel like there's elements on the song I like. And it's just sometimes I just get bored, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's definitely going to be a song that I will grow over time. So I'm not really going to knock them for the final song. AMP I really just don't like in general. I don't like their chorus. I feel like their chorus is so, like, boring but yet annoying. Like, I didn't think the chorus was going to be the way it was on that song. And I just don't ever really feel it. Like, it's definitely below mid. Like, that's one of their only below mid songs on the album. Like, all the other songs I really like a lot. Like, especially with, like, Dance with Death. I thought Dance with Death was, like, amazing. But like I said, AMP was really, like, not the song I liked. Like I said, their final song on the album, I like elements of that song. I really do feel like I have to listen to it more to really like it. Like, it's gonna be one of those songs, like, the more and more I listen to it, like, I'll eventually be like, wow, I fucking loved this song. Because there's a lot of songs that are my favorites I had to listen to a couple times to really, like, get into it, you know? But yeah, that was Ruckus by Movements. Like I said, I really did feel like they did an amazing job on this album. And this album makes me want to listen to their sophomore album in its entirety to just really, like, get into it, like, and this makes me appreciate them more because they did such a good job. If I had to rate this album, a solid 9. Like, I have to give it a 9, because, actually, I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10, because I thought this was a really good album. I could really, like, replay this album. And the reason I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10 is simply for the fact that I feel like, again, this feels different. You know, this feels like a different type of post-hardcore. And like I said, you know, I compare them to La Dispute. I'm a big La Dispute fan. I fuck with them heavy. And, you know, I feel like they do a lot of the things La Dispute does, but in their own way, and they do it as good, you know? And I really do like that a lot. I feel like Movements did an amazing job on this album, and I will be buying it. I have to. I must. But yeah, 9.5 out of 10, I think, suits this album well. I would have given it a 10 if AMP wasn't so bad in my eyes. Like, I just don't like it. It's boring. I just think it's a below mid album. Not album, below mid song. If that song was like better, I would 100% give it a 10. 100%. But it is what it is. Sometimes, you know, you can't, not everything's perfect. Sometimes you can't make the perfect album, you know, and I don't expect people to, but that's the whole point of reviews. Because I'm hoping one day one of these new bands, I'm hoping Knuckle Puck's LP4 perfect album. I hope it is. But yeah, you know, this is the end of the video. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below about the album. What's your favorite song? What's your least favorite song? Favorite parts? Favorite lyrics? Stuff like that. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want me to review next, and I will be on it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.